Storytelling has always been a part of local author Tom French's life. It was what drove him to start his career in writing, 35 years in teaching, and now a twice-published author. French grew up in T.I. Park on Wellesley Island on the St. Lawrence River and spent years listening, recording, and writing down his grandfather's stories of his time on the river.
I was raised on Wellesley Island at Thousand Island Park. My grandparents lived down the street, so we spent a lot of time with them, and he was a storyteller. And I started recording him probably in the late 70s, just because I knew that he wouldn't be around forever, and the stories were really good, and I thought it was important to know that, but it was also just important to have his voice. And I think that his storytelling nature, I think I inherited that to some degree.
This storytelling ability is now seen publicly. French has 2 published books. One, a historical nonfiction book titled River Views, A History of the Thousand Islands in 3D, which includes hundreds of old photographs along the St. Lawrence River. The second is a collection of short stories set in the Thousand Islands titled Wind, Water, Waves. Although fiction, French shared how they are based on experiences he and his grandfather have had on the river. But with that, he also compared his experiences to his grandfather's, noting that their times on the river were much different.
So my experiences come from a different place than my grandfather, and I think that dichotomy between the two experiences is also part of what makes those stories in the book work. The stories, fiction, I think for me, there's a kernel of truth where the story begins. And that might be the emotional element that you're trying to grab a hold of, but then you can work the story to bring in the elements of fiction while maintaining that kernel. So those are some of those stories as well.
Wind, Water, Waves is currently a finalist for the 2021 Indie Book Awards, noted as the world's largest book awards program for independent publishers and self-published authors. What does that mean to you to see one of your books that has such a deep meaning to you?
It's fulfilling. I mean, to know that that people looked at the book who were not from this area, and read some of the stories, maybe all the stories, and felt that whatever I was saying spoke to them as well in a way, that I connected to them in a way that made them realize that what I'm doing or what we're doing here is important in a broader sense.
And compared to his first book that documented previous life on the river, French expressed that his collection of short stories has connected an audience on a different level through emotion and language.
For me, and I think for others who have read the book and enjoyed the book, it reaches down into sort of a spiritual depth of a connection to this place. I've had friends read it that aren't from the river, and they've said, you really get this vernacular down. There's language in there that you wouldn't know what it means unless you were from the river. It was fulfilling and made me know that, hey, when I decided to put myself out there, that in the end, it was an okay decision. It was the right thing to do.
Previously, French's River Views was awarded a silver medal for Best Regional Nonfiction in the Northeast in the Independent Publishers Book Awards of 2012. Wind, Water, and Waves will be featured in the Indie Book Awards ceremony on June 25th, where both winners and finalists will be announced. For ABC 50 Now in Watertown, I'm Isabella Colello. For more local news, go to informnny.com or download the ABC 50 mobile app.